the purpose of today, as you know, is the Black Friday launch and announcement. So that is going to be the main focus of this video, break down some of the sales, promotions. It's extremely exciting. We have by far the best sales going on that I've seen anywhere else. And we'll talk about why here in just a minute. But we're going to start off with, Black Friday. We'll get into some of the a couple other important news or updates that are going on right now. And then a few new surprises as well, as far as some product bundles. And then we'll get into a Q&A. Let's get started. The Black Friday sale is now officially live, and it is going to run from today through next Monday at midnight, basically, 11:59 p.m. Monday night. So full week long of sales. And I say that, of course, with the caveat that as long as certain things last. A lot of these products are going to fly off the shelf pretty quickly. We are stocked pretty well, or going to be stocking well throughout the week. But if something runs out, there's no way to restock before the sale. So I would encourage you to jump on things as soon as possible, get those carts loaded up and get going. Some of these sales are going to be hard to beat. So it's a great time to stock up. So let's talk about some of the specific sales. So let's start with, I think, the biggest one, and that is a 30% off of all the fragrance oils site-wide. But that's not just it. I'm going to highlight the specific product discounts first, and then we're going to get into a site-wide bonus sale as well. But all the fragrance oils, the sample 2-ounce sizes, 8 ounces, 1 pound bottles, all of them are 30% off. So this is a great opportunity to not only try a bunch of new scents, but if you already use some of them, stock up. Or instead of buying a 2-ounce bottle, if you'd rather go straight up to an 8 or 1 pound, great time to be trying things and stocking up. Check out the Black Friday page on the website. It highlights these deals specifically, but if you need some more information. Now, before I move on to some of the other things, I want to highlight a couple important things. One is that we're not going to be able to do exchanges during the sale. So all sales are final during Black Friday. That's pretty normal for most places. There's just a lot going on, a lot of product going in and out. So it's hard to really accept returns and refunds and exchanges. A lot of times also people kind of stock up just to take advantage of a sale, and they're like, well, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't want that. So I'm going to send it back. So there are none of that during this week. So all sales are final. That being said, the discounts you're getting, I'm not sure anyone's going to want to return anything anyways. So let's move on to the next one. So we'll dive into some more stuff on fragrance oils soon, because there's some new things to talk about as well. But as far as the actual blanket sale on fragrance oils, it's 30% off. That's already a pretty tremendous sale. I mean, you're talking, $30 orders or oils down to 20 basically. So, I mean, there's already an extensive discount, but there's a lot more to come on the oils. Wicks, same thing. So all of our Wicks collections, it's 30% off across the board. That is on your 12 packs, 25 packs, and the 100 packs of Wicks. So what you're getting, 30% discount on as many Wicks as you want, basically. The only thing that doesn't count towards that is the sample packs of Wicks, because those are already highly discounted. So if you are just looking for a small set, either way, you can figure out which way is a little bit cheaper for you. But the actual orders of Wicks on individual bags and packs are 30% off as well. So 30% off oils, 30% off Wicks. And we also are doing a 10% off on dyes. Doesn't sound like a whole lot, but again, there's more coming to that. We have the dye complete set as well. But it's a good time if you are wanting to try some color in your candles or any of your products. Well, not any products. These are candle dyes. This would be a good chance to try some out. Vibrant colors. They're all REACH compliant dyes as well. And we just launched those earlier in the summer, but they already are picking up quickly. So I'd recommend checking those out as well. And like I said, we have a whole set, or you can kind of pick and choose. We have 22 different color options. And so you can really mix and match and make your own unique colors. You can get really creative with that part of the process. If you've been following me for a while, you know that most of my products are colored. In my experience, anytime I've done events and shows and sales, in fact, I've done some A/B testing where I'll take non-colored candles and colored candles, and the colored ones always sell better. They always have for me. That's why I've always been passionate about mixing and being creative with colors. But that's not for everyone. So if dyes do not interest you, no big deal. If they do, you can save a little bit more on those as well. So we've talked about specific discounts on fragrance oils, Wicks, and dyes as more of a general discount, a general statement. And then there's some bundles and other things that are separately discounted. We'll talk about here shortly. But there's one other big thing I want to announce as far as the promotions go. On top of the individual discounts 30% off oils, 30% off Wicks, and so on. You're also earning cashback store credit rewards. 10 points per dollar spent. 500 points is $5. So if you take a look at the breakdown and the effective promotion, the effective discount by adding the discounts plus cashback, you're basically getting an effective discount on most products on the website, anywhere between 40 and 50% off. So it's a great sale. We've been, I've tried to promote this and structure this promotion in a way for everyone that was just highly attractive and highly helpful. I'm fully aware that a lot of businesses here are newer, smaller businesses. And so anything we can kind of give back, especially for most of you following my channel for years, are either new, getting started, or small businesses, right? So I wanted to make this very helpful and attractive for all of you to get products, especially during this time of year, with as much discount as I could possibly give away. So I've really stretched myself to the limits here on what I can do. Like I said, this effective promotion, effective sale of almost 40 to 50% on most products. It depends on the specific product, but it looks like Brian's already chiming in. He's already placed a cart, and has already saved $80. So great time to save if on your normal orders, great time to stock up. Busy time of year. I really wanted to make it the best possible for all of you to save as much as you could. And I know you're going to like the products. I know you're going to be really happy with the oils and everything that you do get from us if you don't already shop with us. And so hopefully that store credit and that extra cash back will be more incentive for you to want to come back and stay with us, and try more products, stock up in the future. Because right after Black Friday, we still have a lot of the busy season left. We still have Thanksgiving this week, and then we still have Christmas. These are still really busy times. But right around the corner, you've got Easter, you've got Valentine's Day, another time for products like the ones that all of us make. So after this week's over, now the cashback, I should say, isn't redeemable until after this week, obviously, or at that point it's like 100% effective promotion and I'd be out of business. But we will start allowing those to be redeemed starting next week. So you can use those for stocking up more around Christmas. You could stock up going into spring. We have a great selection of spring and summer fragrances. I know no one's talking about those right now because of the time of year, but we have a great selection, and we have another probably 20 fragrances in that season in the works right now. So that's the sale in a nutshell. 30% across the board on most products, plus cashback, store credit that you can use on future orders. The details, if you would like any more details on Black Friday or just need a refresher, go to the website. Right at the top, there's a Black Friday link specifically. And then if you open that up, it'll take you to Black Friday page, kind of outlines this all again for you. So let me know what you think. Massive savings across the board, ends up averaging out to 40 to 50% site-wide when you combine the two promotions together. So one other thing I wanted to mention is we have some new custom fragrance collection sets, little bundles basically, of ones that we've put together that have a similar theme to them, a similar vibe to them. And we're going to be doing this going forward in the future, but those are also on sale right now. So there's actually 4 of them specifically. They are discounted in general already because they are a little set, but they're also discounted another 20% on top. So you're saving effectively about the same amount on those as well. And the 4 sets that we've put together, and this isn't going to look super elegant. I printed them off just to kind of show you, some of the visuals. But if you go to the website, this is one example. You'll see 4 different collections under fragrance oils. Well, it's under fragrance oils. There's a fragrance collection menu. Click on that and you'll see 4 new ones. And I'm just going to highlight those real quick because they're fun. And a lot of people have been asking us for ways to purchase new sample sets. There's a few ways you can go about it. It's hard to do a massive, complete fragrance sample set. We get asked about that a lot, and that's really difficult to do because we're always adding more. So we'd always be upping the price, and before you know it, a sample set's 200 oils, and I don't even know how much that would cost, but it's just weird. So it's better to do micro mini sets. Now we are working on some other things to make that a little easier to, save on samples, although nothing's going to beat what we're doing this week. The first one is Sweet Chaos, and the name of that is obviously around this time of year, it's chaos. Thanksgiving, family, winter, Christmas in general, coming up on New Year's, it's just chaotic. And a lot of people want to deal with that with desserts and sweets. And if you are a sweet tooth in the middle of all the chaos, that's where we came up with that name. So the Sweet Chaos, and that includes 8 different fragrance samples. The Banana Bundt Cake, Butterscotch Brew, honey pain au chocolat, the sugar cookie, cereal dreams, pistachio baklava, sugar chestnut, and the velvet berry. So if you are into gourmand or super sweet fragrances, this is a great collection for you. Personally, it's not my thing necessarily. I like more outdoor, woodsy, musky type fragrances, but everyone has their own preference. My sister, for example, is here, and I'm going to spin you around and show her, or maybe I'll have her come over in a minute. But that's probably her favorite collection. So like the sugar chestnut, for example, almost knocks me over, and she smelled it and wanted to drink it. And actually, I'm just going to have come on over real quick just to say hi. I'll see if I can see anyone else. I don't know. I'll try that here in a minute. But here is, hi. This is my sister Ashley. If you guys have been around for a few years now, you might remember that we did a fundraiser. She was diagnosed with cancer a few years ago, doing well now. But a lot of you were here back then to support that fundraiser, so really appreciate it. But this is my sister. She's gorgeous. She's awesome. She's here helping today because, well, I needed as much help as I can. So she's actually putting together she's already done some of the boxes for the new sample sets. So anyways, just wanted to show you off for a second. So that was my sister. You know, I've got my niece is also here helping extra. I got 2 of my sons are here. It's going to be a busy week. It's going to be a busy week for sure. Thank you all for the support. And again, thank you for anyone that was around that helped during that as well the last few years. So anyways, I mentioned that because Sweet Chaos would be her ideal collection probably. Another collection we have is the Wicked Winter Nights. This one is 6 fragrances: the Fireside Noel, First Snow, the Aspen Chill, the Golden Fir, the Lodge, and the Peculiar Pine. So as you can tell by most of those names, these are going to be a lot of your outdoor, woody, pine, fir, spruces, and they're all different. They all have different unique twists to them. I've done some short form videos and content talking about the differences in each of these, so I won't get into all those today, but I don't even know if I could pick a favorite out of those. I mean, the Peculiar Pine's been amazing since we launched it. The Aspen Chill is brand new, and it's been hard to keep stocked. Fireside Noel is a classic if you're familiar with like Christmas Hearth. So if you're looking for that kind of outdoor, woody, wicked winter feeling vibe, that's where we came up with that collection. The next one, the Seasonal Mischief, was another one that we released specifically around this time of year, obviously. They thought it would be fun to do more of a kind of bad, naughty side of fragrances for this time of year, both Thanksgiving and Christmas. Oh, I got someone asking about merch. Yeah, I know, I get that question a lot. That is something we're working on. Probably the 3 of us, but I know Bree and I have talked about it a little bit as well that we'll get into after the holidays. But anyways, I got distracted. Seasonal Mischief. So this one's fun. It's got a lot of creative, fun, twist, edgy, naughty type fragrances, sort of, including 8 different fragrances. The first one is Gretel's Kiss. And if you haven't tried that yet, it's probably one of my top favorites. It's one of the only kind of gourmand, sweeter side fragrances that I could have every day. It's mostly a gingerbread and peppermint, but there's more to it, and it's amazing. The Pumpkin Affair, the Twisted Pumpkin, the Sassy Pumpkin. We have a Peppermint Twist, the Risky Christmas, that's got a lot of attention already, the Lumberjack, which is like a flannel type fragrance, and Devil's Candy, which is mostly cinnamon. So if you're looking for something a little bit more, I guess like an edgy vibe, that'd be a great collection. It's already themed out very well too. So if you know what you're looking for, these can help give some inspiration, but also just very accurate names and descriptions. And then the last of the new collections we've released so far is the Sparks and Smoke collection. And this one's fun. This one's any fragrances that have a little bit of sparks and smoke, I guess. Crackling Birch, Love After Death, Smoking Gun, Death Valley, Graveyard, and Cranberry Fire. So anything with a little bit of smokiness or a little bit of spice, a little bit of that fiery or kind of spark type fragrance. I love all 6 of those in this collection. All 6 of these have been favorites of mine since we launched, and they're not necessarily a specific seasonal collection. They can be used anytime, but that's a real fun one to try as well. So again, all of these new sets are on the website. Check them out. They're already discounted as well. So if you're looking for specific small sets, great way to get going. And there are different fragrances in each of these. So, you know, there's 16, 20, 28 fragrances just in these 4 collections. Excuse me. Losing my voice already. What else do we need to talk about here? I did have a quick question about what my all-time favorite fragrance is. Well, let's start with my sister. She said she knows hers. What is that? Oh, coffee, like a hazelnut coffee, or just yeah. I mean, you need to smell our new coffee fragrances. It's over here if you want to try out. Velvet Brew and Butterscotch Brew is awesome. So my sister's favorite's coffee. I don't know that I can answer that. I get that question a lot. Oh man. I can tell you some of our best sellers. Bandit, Cranberry Fire. Oh man, there's so many, but I might have to come back to that. I don't know that I can pick one. I'll tell you that Marinaro is a bergamot waters type fragrance, and it's one of my favorites. I made that into a cologne, so I like that one a lot. I could probably answer better if I did it per season, per time of year. So I'll think on that a little bit. Yeah, Crystal, Butterscotch Brew. It was released in the last launch, not the most recent, but the one before that, and it's awesome. You can really detect both the coffee and the butterscotch notes. Some awesome fruity scents. Some of the ones that just first come to mind is the Velvet Berry. We have an Orange Skittle that's kind of fun. A lot of them have some fruit notes in them. Even the Aspen Chill has like a little bit of a fruit note to it. So is Fireside Noel, like berries. The Foliage is a fallen leaves type fragrance. It's got some fruit, spiced apple, and orange notes in it as well. But straight fruit, oh man, I know. Siren Secret. That's been our best-selling fruit type fragrance. It's also an awesome name and awesome image, but it's like a white nectarine, pink coral type fragrance, and it is so good. Actually, when we first launched that one, that was the bestseller for a while until we got into the seasonal scents. I like a lot of things with bergamot, and some citrus, not too much, but some lemon, some bergamot. Oh man. If you go to our website and click on all fragrance oils, there's a filter that pops up on the left, and you can search for the type of note you're looking for: gourmand, fruit, citrus, woody, whatever. So that's another great way to do it. At some point, I'll add some of like Maker's favorites back up there to kind of highlight ones that are trending or that I like right now. But there's just so many good ones. It's hard to choose. All right, let's see what else. Let's talk about the cashback a little bit again. Spend 50, earning an extra 5. I mean, that's our normal order is anywhere between $50 and $100. So if you're spending that anyways and you're earning additional cash back on top of your 30% discounts, like I said, your effective promotion is almost 50% across the site. And then you've got, I think, 6 months to use that. So plenty of time to stock up and take advantage of those rewards. And we have some surprises coming after Black Friday, more closer to the beginning of the year related to that, but more to come on that. And then you can redeem those cash back in increments as well. So if you earn $75 cash back, you don't have to use it all at once. You can use it in $5 increments. So if you got a $25 order, spend 5. If you got a $100 order, spend 15 or whatever. So that's basically how it works. And again, these details are outlined on the website. If you have any more questions, I think most people understand general premise: discounts plus cash back. I am losing my voice. You won't want to drink that. No. I'm going to try to maintain my voice here as best I can. All right. We've covered wicks. We've covered fragrance oils. We've covered bundle sets. We've covered dyes. I think it's time to just dive in. If you guys have questions, let's just start doing that. We've covered the sale, I think, quite a bit at this point. So let's just dive into some questions. Huh? Lumberjack? Yeah. Most women like that one. Okay, let's see. Brian, interesting suggestion. 1-to-1 ratio of Velvet Brew and Peppermint Twist gives you a peppermint mocha. Oh, good idea. I guess we better just make that an oil by itself, huh? I got a question. Is wax in the future? I get that question a lot too. I'm not going to say no entirely, but there's some reasons I don't want to do that. Similar to reasons I'll never probably sell jars, at least in any kind of wide variety or capacity. As we start making sets, and if you're local and it's easy to come do that, I'm looking at ways to do that. But I don't know. I don't know how to answer that right now. I don't want to say no, but there's nothing planned specifically right now. I do stock a lot for use, but so it's not out of the question. The Bandit sounds interesting. Tell us more about it. The Bandit has been our I want to get in and see if it's still leading the race. Cranberry Fire might have overtaken it during the season, but Bandit's been our #1 seller all along. It is a woody, brandy, leather, rugged, rough. I feel like it's kind of masculine notes, but it's loved by pretty much everyone. That's why it's our best seller, telling you what the main notes are, but it's sort of hard to describe. But if you're looking for something that is very rugged smelling and it's, like I said, it's like a real deep leather, brandy, a little bit of smokiness too. It's a really good fragrance overall. Carrying additives like UV stabilizer. Good question, Brian. Yes, I should be launching UV stabilizer. Oh, it could be this year, but if not, it'd be very soon in Q1. Selling color, it makes sense. So we do have a really good liquid version too that is easier to mix with the color. It will also last a lot longer. It doesn't affect the overall makeup of the candle as much. So more to come on that, but yes, that is something coming, as well as other products like bases, diffuser bases, room spray bases, things like that. Those are all in the works as well. So about the cashback as well, when you go to the website, you should see at the bottom a little pop-up that says VIP rewards. And right now it's specific to Black Friday. If you open it up, you will see it's easier to create an account on the website because you just have more, you can see more. It's easier to use everything, but you don't have to. So if you are shopping as a guest, you don't have an account, you can still earn points, but it's, I would recommend just adding an account on the website. You can track your orders that way. You can see your order history. You can see your points. It's just a lot easier. But as I mentioned, if you click on that, it'll bring up that little pop-up and it'll show you your current balance of points, anything you've earned and redeemed so far, as well as anytime you make a purchase, you'll get an email saying how many VIP points you earned. And then it'll give you reminders on to use those as time goes on as well. See another question. Does it harm the fragrance to measure it out and leave uncovered overnight? Or should it stay in a container until right before making? I wouldn't leave it uncovered. A couple reasons. One, well, you don't want it to oxidize, and I don't know that that's necessarily going to happen in a day or 24 hours, but between light exposure, oxygen exposure, it can sort of change it. So I keep it in airtight containers. I think that's the safer route. I mean, if you are mixing and measuring now, that's totally fine. Just I would cover it. That'd be my recommendation. Am I bringing back consultations? Yeah. At some point, I had to pause those. They take up a lot of time, and this time of year, I just didn't have it. So I've had to temporarily pause those. Whenever those go live again, they'll be available back on the website. I'll also send out newsletters, SMS messages, post in the groups everywhere, just to let people know that those are back. But right now they are on hold till at least through the holiday season. If an oil has a lower flash point, will the fragrance burn off quicker? No, so flash point is really just something that's on fragrance oils because it has to be. And it's also used for shipping reasons. But basically it's if you were to expose the fragrance oil directly to an open flame, at what temperature it would ignite or could ignite. That's the flash point. Once it's mixed with wax, the flash point of the entire product drastically changes and actually goes much higher. So that's not a concern so much. I would say one thing I do avoid is warming your fragrance oil first. Some people do that as thinking it will mix better because when you add fragrance oil to wax, it will bring down the temperature of the wax. So some people warm the fragrance oil previously. I wouldn't do that. I mean, a little bit I don't think is probably going to hurt it, but it's also not a scalable process. As your business grows, you're not going to be able to keep doing that. That only really works in small batches. But that would be some risk maybe because you're exposing it to direct heat, like in a melting pot, for example, or a pouring pitcher or wherever. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. I don't think there's any benefit, but also there's really only disadvantages to it. So hopefully that answers the question. Oh, you're probably asking more of like, in general though, I guess, if you're making candles and you use one fragrance oil that's got a lower flash point than another, will that change the hot throw? It can, but it's not necessarily specific to the fragrance or to the flash point. The fragrance oil notes, profiles, and density is usually what contributes more to hot throw. It's more of like how it reacts and how it combines with that wax and with wicking. You can have extremely good fragrance throw with low flash points, high flash points. Generally speaking, I've always mixed all of my oils into the wax are the same. And when I go, over the last 15 years of doing this and talking with the the big guys in the industry, going to the National Candle Association conference, talking with wax manufacturers, oil manufacturers. None of them recommend changing anything just because the flash point's lower or higher on certain oils, if that adds any comfort. So if you have a process, I would just stick to that process. Now, if you do notice certain oils aren't as strong, it probably has nothing to do with flash point. It could just be that oil and maybe that way that oil reacts with your wax or your wick. So there's hundreds of thousands of oils out there. So I've always been a strong proponent of don't fight it so hard. Like, don't try to force anything to work. If it doesn't work, just go to another oil. Keep it simple. When you're pouring your fragrance oil into wax, do I have to keep my wax at the steady temp for the full 2 minutes while stirring in? No, and actually the full 2 minutes is sort of a myth too. There's no magic time number out there that says you have to do something for a specific amount of time. People just say 2 minutes generically because it's long enough to feel comfortable that it's been fully blended. But it's not like if an oil is stirred for a minute 45 that it didn't incorporate, and at 2:02 you're fine. It has nothing to do with that really. Time is just like a reference point that people use. All that matters is that the oil blends with the wax. That can happen in 20 seconds. So if you use dye, I add dye after because I like to see or trust. Like if you're new to candle making and you're new and don't know how your oil and wax will behave, it's good to try it on its own before using dye. And then once you're comfortable knowing that it works, then you can add dye first. Actually, I usually do. But you just need to make sure it mixes. Now, if you're using a wax that is a little harder to blend, like a soy wax, for example, beeswax, for example, or any waxes that you're not heating up very high, I would stir those a little longer just because it's like, things merge better right when they're hot. So if you add a cup of sugar to hot tea, it blends a lot easier than if you add a cup of sugar to cold tea. So the hotter your wax is, the easier it's going to blend and you don't have to stir as long. If you're adding oil at low temperatures, you might have to stir it a little bit more. Don't go super fast, just a nice, good routine, kind of steady stir. But if things look like they're blended in well, that's totally fine. Yeah, go ahead and open the garage, but it's fine. Sorry, it might be a little loud. I think we have about 1,000 pounds more of oil showing up right now. Exciting. That's for you guys. I'm using your tips and tricks from YouTube video that you did on wet spots for jars using 464 and beeswax. Any other tips in addition to warming the jars? I cover my candles after pouring them. I know it's hard to prevent 100%. Well, first and foremost, I'd say don't worry about wet spots. You'll drive yourself crazy, and you're never going to be able to prevent them entirely. We got commotion in here, so we got a lot of oil showing up. And wicks. Cool. Where was I? Oh, wet spots. Don't worry about them. I know it's hard to do that as makers, but most customers don't even know what they are, nor do they care. And the first time you burn a candle, it looks perfect anyways. It's not going to look perfect ever again. So I don't worry about them. If you're making certain kind of, dessert candles, novelty candles, that becomes more important because you're selling more for a visual than you are the actual performance. As far as trying to minimize it, just a lot of testing with airflow, temperatures. Certain waxes are just much better at adhering to jars than others. Most waxes shrink a little bit. And you're adding beeswax. 464 is pretty good with jar adhesion. But when you add beeswax, that's going to harden it and cause it to shrink. So yeah, that's actually counterproductive to wet spots. You can't really kind of have it both ways on certain things. Sometimes we do things to improve one area of our candle, but it might cause an issue somewhere else, like wet spots. So that's why I say don't worry about it. If you're still super worried about it, consider jar changes. Something that's opaque, not clear, then no one ever sees it. I know that's like a cop-out answer, but it's also true. If you go look at shelves, and even some of the best candle manufacturers in the world, the largest ones, they don't care about wet spots. Is there a temp that's too high to heat wax? Yeah. If you look at the specifications on any wax that you use and find there's always recommendations from the manufacturer, but also wax is usually exposed to more direct heat than oil. So you want to avoid a flash point on those. They can ignite, but you're going to have issues well before that point usually. You don't want to scorch the wax. So there isn't a specific rule because all waxes are different, but generally speaking, most waxes anywhere between 160 and 200 or so is fine. Certain waxes like some paraffins and coconut waxes actually want hotter temperatures. So you're always going up to 200. Palm waxes is another good example. I mean, you can go to like 220 on those. Sometimes you have to. It is very specific on the wax type itself. What else? I've seen a few posts about using a magnetic stir. What is that for? I like to keep this simple as possible. And this kind of goes to another question about the wet spots. Do things that are scalable. So if you're doing a lot of like kind of tips and tricks and little shortcuts, or I'm not saying this is a shortcut or a gimmick or anything like that, but try to think of this as like, if my business were to grow from now 10 times the size tomorrow, will my processes work? If not, what would you have to change? So keep that in mind when you're thinking about what type of tools to use, materials to use. So no, I don't use anything like that. If I'm doing small batch making, like for tutorials or test products, honestly, I use a spoon like this. Easy to clean, and it's not porous, by the way. So make sure you get one that's not porous. But you can use spatulas, plastic. You can use metal stirrers like this too, which are great, except for they're really noisy and annoying to use because you hear them banging around. So that's why I don't use those. But keep it simple. I don't think there's any reason to do that. As you scale, you can use automatic mixers. If you got big tanks, you just drop them in, they just stir for you, they mix for you. Or if, like I use a Cougar pumper to do my bulk production, and that's all mixed in a hose, and it's very different, right? So it's all dependent on your business, but always keep scaling in mind because that's usually most people's goal, and you want to make sure it's easy to do that. Any thoughts on Tobacco Luxe? So it's a great fragrance. It's an unusual name because a lot of people think that it's going to be very tobacco-y. It's not. It's actually sort of our version of a Tom Ford fragrance. And it's not heavy on tobacco. It's more of like a luxury. It's a fine fragrance. It's awesome. It's got some lemon in it, some bergamot. It's an awesome fragrance, but don't let that name throw you off. We've considered changing it, but I didn't want to confuse everyone. Yeah, if you look at the description of it, more so than the name, you'll get a better idea of how it smells. It's an awesome fragrance. We actually got that idea when I was in Vegas in a Tom Ford shop, and it was one of my favorites. I'm like, well, let's change this a little bit. But it's a great fragrance. What's a good wax or wax melts? I've been using soy 4 candles, but they're very oily. Yeah, some of those natural waxes, soy, coconut, they're oily, right? So vegetable oil waxes. There are some good soy waxes for melts. They're not my favorites, but 494 works. They're still gonna be kind of that weird, smooth, kind of greasy texture. I can tell you a few waxes that I recommend for wax melts. My two favorites are like a ProBlend 650, which is a 50-50 Parasoy. I like the creamy look of it, but it's not super greasy. It holds color well, holds fragrance well, overall great performance. And I also like C55, which is a hard coconut wax that is more of a translucent translucent kind of glossy appearance. I like that it's a little harder than the ProBlend 650, but I like the creamy look of the ProBlend 650. In fact, I've considered kind of blending them to see what you can come up with, but those are the two that I recommend the most, honestly, for most people. Is the top notes of fragrance the strongest and the bottom the lowest? And why is music usually at the bottom? Music? Oh, musk? Probably musk. Well, let's start with the top note. So it's not that the strongest are at the top, although often. It's just the first ones you pick up. They're the ones that kind of jump out in your face first. Middle notes kind of bring everything together, and the base notes are grounding. So you're going to have a lot of base notes of like, musk, woods, patchouli, sandalwood, cedar, things like that. So they provide the overall base of the fragrance, and you'll see a lot of those are sort of similar in a lot of fragrance oils. And the top notes is like your quick, like out of the bottle, that's what you're usually going to smell right off the bat. If it's sweet, you're going to smell something sweet. If it's floral, you smell the floral. It's like your first impression out of the bottle, sort of. And then as you add it to, and that's why I tell everyone not to judge all fragrances out of the bottle. You're usually picking up the top notes first. The top notes are more volatile. You'll smell them stronger, brighter, first impressions, but they don't linger as long. So it's the combination of top notes, middle, and base that kind of bring everything together to make the whole fragrance harmonize and linger. And so that's why fragrance production is a difficult process, because you're trying to balance all that. You want something strong, but you want something that lingers. You want something that smells great, but you got to like make sure there's other things that are like holding it all together, right? So they all work together. Sort of like, think of it like kind of baking a cake. Like all cakes have basic base ingredients. And they vary a little bit, but then the middle notes is like what type of, what type of like cake batter and other things that you're using. Like what makes the middle part of the cake a little different. Top notes, first impression. It's your icing, it's your decorations, it's the things that you jump out and taste first, right? So maybe that's a good way to describe it. Will I be adding any new wicks next year? Yes, for sure. We will be adding, well, I should not use words like for sure, but probably HTP. I'm torn on CD because we already do CDN and I just like those a little bit better than CD, but we'll probably will. CDN, HTP, I'm getting some requests for zinc, although not a lot, but there's a lot of people that still use them. And then Aroma Light would be another one we're looking at. I don't know that I'm also torn on LX wicks. Premiers are sort of the same type of composition, but just much better, in my opinion. We sell more Premier wicks by far than anything. It's not even close. They work in a lot of variety of waxes too, but we sell Eco CDNs as well. So, oh, hey, that came from Joe. That makes more sense now why that question was asked. I don't know, will I be? All right. I'm gonna try to wrap this up here soon. You guys have any more questions? I don't want to hold everyone's day. I appreciate all of you for sitting around this long though and jumping in. And I hope you guys are filling those carts up. I would feel really awful if started running out some real popular stuff here, but I'm gonna have a busy week. We're gonna have a busy week here, but I'm also super excited about it. One final reminder before we end this. If you're not already, I really highly suggest you sign up for the SMS and the emails, both. Not everything goes out to each one. We try, but some things just don't make sense to send over SMS, for example, or email. But if you go to the website, if you're new, you'll get a prompt to sign up. If you're not, just go down to the bottom. There should be a link to sign up for announcements. It's the best way to be notified of stuff. There's been times where we post an announcement or a sale, and it's over so quick because we ran out of stuff in like 24 hours. And then people are like, oh, I didn't know, I missed it. And I didn't know I could sign up for announcements. So that's why I like to remind that all the time. That being said, happy Black Friday. Happy Thanksgiving. Appreciate all your guys' support. Hope you enjoyed today's live. Good luck. Good luck making everything. If you have any other final questions, let me know. And we'll get back to them as soon as we can. Thank you, Bree and Carrie, for being here and helping out, field a lot of these questions for me. Appreciate you all. Happy holidays.